Hello,
Hey.
we are Haley and Jace from the River Afternoon Show. So excited to be here with Ann Wilson. You probably
Hi.
know her and love her from her songs "My Jesus" and now Sunday sermons on the river. And Ann, we're super excited for you to be here today.
It's so good to be with you guys. Thanks for having me.
And the big exciting news is that you've got your debut album out now, My Jesus. How are you
Yes.
feeling with the whole album coming out? Because I'm sure you've been working hard on it for a long time, and now to give it to the world, how are you feeling?
Yeah, it's so exciting and it has been so fun to be able to release these songs. I spent 2.5 years writing over 130 songs and recording a ton of songs. And a lot of these songs were really written from deep places in my heart of grief and loss with losing my brother and just walking through really tough seasons of life. And so each of these songs on the record mean a lot to me. And I never will put out a song, and I've never put out a song that I don't fully believe in. And so all of these songs I fully believe in. And I'm just so excited to see how God is going to continue to use these songs to impact so many people. But it's so exciting that I have a full record out now. And it's a dream come true. And to think that a year ago, my single, My Jesus, had just come out, and now a year later, my record's out. It's a crazy feeling.
Yeah, it's so cool. And I think a lot of people will know because you've shared the story behind My Jesus and with tragically losing your brother at a young age. And it's just so interesting to me because every time I've interacted with you or seen you, you seem like such a joyful, happy person. I think that truly is who you are. But I think a lot of people might look at that and go, well, she's gone through this horrible thing. That's not what grief looks like, right? Like we think it has to look this certain way. And so I'm just curious, what have you learned about grief through your experience with your brother?
Yeah, it's so true. Like, grief is something that is very complex, and there's no timeline to grief, and there's no right or wrong way to grieve someone. And I think for my specific journey with my brother, it's really been about I think just like clinging to the Lord. And I don't know how anyone goes through grief without the Lord. I don't know how anyone could possibly get through something without Jesus. But I just decided from the beginning I have to cling to Jesus, and I have to have Him be my strength and my support. Um, and like I said, there's no time to grief. So for me, it's been almost 5 years now, and there's still times where I will have just a breakdown, and I will just um, it'll just be a really hard day. And then there's other times where I'm really happy, and I see all of this beauty that God has brought out of the tragedy with losing my brother. And I think it's definitely something that grief for me specifically has just been having patience with myself. And if I have a day where I'm just really struggling with Jacob and just, like really being sad and upset about it, I have to remind myself of just the reality of how hard it is to lose a loved one. And we were not meant to have to go through that. And because the world has fallen, like that's why we're having to suffer loss and grief. But we weren't meant, God didn't design us to have to walk through hard things like that. And so naturally, that's not something that we're prepared for. And I think just leaning on God and relying on Him has been really big for me, and allowing the Lord to just heal me every time I have a hard day. And also just reflecting on the happy memories. And I've gotten to the point now, almost 5 years in, where I'm actually able to reflect on Jacob with joy and laugh about our memories together, rather than just being so sad that I can't talk about him now. So grief is very complex, but for me, it's just about clinging to the Lord and Him being my source of strength and joy.
I think that's such an honest picture of grief, and obviously like that's your story, but it comes through in your song as well, because I think that there's sometimes this tendency for those of us who are Christians to go, well, I just need to not be sad. I know that they're in a better place. And but to actually, for you to say that too, gives a lot of freedom to say it's okay to look this in the face and take it for what it is. It doesn't make Jesus a crutch. It makes Jesus just that much more important. And I think that
Absolutely.
balancing both of those things is really honest and not something traditionally that I think the church has done a terribly good job at. So, and that's coming through in your music. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's ministering to so many people.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so sweet.
So Anne, I know you are a lover of country music, obviously. You know that moment when Shania Twain says, "Let's go, girls." You feel like you can kick through a wall, right?
I do. I do feel that.
So I get that vibe from your song, "Hey Girl," on the new album. Can you talk a little bit about that
Yes.
song and what the heart behind it is? Because I think any woman who listens to that song is going to be like, yes, this is my
And
anthem.
also Jace.
And also
Yeah.
Jace.
That's so sweet. It's actually crazy to see how many guys love that song as well. My band on the road with me, they love their song, and every time it's live, they're just so excited to play that. But Hey Girl is one of my favorite songs I've ever written. I think for me, I identity in what people said about me and what the world said about me. And there were so many seasons of falling into peer pressure in high school and middle school, and always letting the enemy just speak lies over me and tell me I wasn't good enough and I wasn't worthy and all those things. And I think specifically as a female, it's really hard to be in that middle school, high school age group. And this is a song for every, women of every age, but I think specifically in that age group, it's really hard to remind yourself of who your identity is in. And so for me, I was in the writing room with a couple of my friends, and I really just wanted to write a song about speaking to women and reminding them of their worth and that it's in Jesus, and that He is the one that calls them worthy, and He is the one that calls them enough, and He is the one that calls them a daughter of Him. And I think that song is, it's been so cool to see how it's so country. And so it's reaching an audience in country music that might not normally hear Christian music. And then the
Yeah.
lyrics are very much about the Lord and our identity in Him. And so it's been really cool to see the response to that song. And it's definitely one of my favorite songs that I've ever written and been a part of.
So last question for you, Anne. There's a thing that we do on the show, and we call it the most selfless act. And we give people an opportunity to share the most selfless thing that they've ever done. And it feels kind of awkward to ask people to share that, but the hope is not a, hey, like brag on yourself. It's more of a, hey, maybe this will be an inspiration to somebody else. So we're going to put you on the spot a little bit and say, okay, Anne Wilson, what is the most selfless thing that you've ever done that might inspire somebody else?
Wow. Crazy. I've never been asked a question like that. Honestly, it does feel weird saying, because it's like not in a like a bragging way.
Yeah.
I feel like the first thing that comes to mind is and man, this was hard to do, but when my brother passed away, I immediately like kind of shut down my grief process and was the strength for my family. And it's kind of the Lord that called me to do that, and really gave me the strength. But it kind of felt like this whole thing of I wasn't allowing myself to, and I don't know how healthy it was, but I wasn't allowing myself to grieve so that my family could have my strength to support them. And I think that was something that was really hard to do. But I think the Lord really, like, He gave me that time to be strong for them, and then gave me time, like years down the road where I was fully able to grieve. And so I think to inspire people is to say, like, if you're walking through something really hard, and something has happened in your family, or there's something that's going on really wrong in your life, I would just encourage you to be strong for your family and be strong for those around you. And I also think it's like encouraging those around you in the Lord, like even if it's not about losing a loved one, but just in any circumstance, I think choosing to like lay aside your desires and your burdens and your grief and be strong for someone else, and be a friend to someone else, and be an encouragement to someone else, is a really important thing to do. And I felt like the Lord kind of called me to do that when my brother passed away, and then blessed me years down the road for it. And I was able to fully grieve in a really good way.
Great answer.
That's awesome. Well, Anne, it is always a joy to spend time with you. So thank you so much for taking just a couple
You
minutes.
too.
And we are celebrating with
Absolutely.
you the release of your album, My Jesus, out now everywhere you
Mhm.
listen to music. You can hear My Jesus and Sunday Sermons on the River. And so we are just so excited for you, rooting for you in Columbus, Ohio.
Thank you guys so much. It was so good to talk to you all.